So you notice my stance again is coming here. Got my foot on one side of her head or the other. It doesn't matter which side of the head you're on. It really doesn't. This is just something I'm comfortable with. You gotta find which one you're comfortable with, and you don't want to get so deep that you're not moving your hips, but you don't want to stand straight up or you're bent over. When you bend over right here at your back, or your back's bent or your shoulders bent, that's when the pain happens. And that's when you start having issues with, if you sit here like this for 8 hours, your low back's gonna start hurting. Same thing if you start here and you start slouching real bad, letting your shoulders come around, this will start hurting and it'll start burning across your shoulders. I find that anytime you feel something burning, especially if you have several massages in a row, by the time you feel it burning, it's going to give you issues for the rest of the day, and you're going to have to deal with that when you get home. So we're going to try to keep your back as straight as possible and try to keep your body mechanics good. When I start a massage, I always start a massage. This is something the preference I have. You don't have to start this way. I just find it works really well, especially since we're trying to spread lotion, cream, or whatever kind of massage lubricant that you have. I prefer cream. It doesn't take a lot. I find it glides easy, and I like it because the body generally absorbs it within 20 minutes, as opposed to lotion or especially oil, where that feels like they have to take a shower afterwards. We'll talk about that in another video. Anyway, so you take some, put it in your finger, you kind of rub it in just a little bit, kind of warm your hands up if you haven't already, and you're going to start spreading this along the back. This is called a heart effluerage. All you're trying to do is trying to mainly spread the cream and then start trying to intake what's happening in the body. I'm not doing any kind of deep pressure, but I'm feeling with my fingers to see what's there. I'm also paying attention because what cream or the cream, lotion, and oils and all that does is it cuts down the friction on the skin. So you want to put enough in your hands so that you are gliding you want a good glide where it's not, how you rub on the dry skin, or the dry skin catches. We're trying not to get it where it catches or heat up the skin that way. But what we're trying to do is get it where it's not so much that your hand's just sliding off. You want a good glide, but you want a little bit of friction still. You don't want to put so much. You can put so much that if you put enough pressure, you'll slip right off and fall right on the client. We definitely don't want to do that. So if you need to, you add a little bit more, which I need just a little bit more, just to spread around. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm not just doing it to spread the cream around. I'm also trying to take in information. So even right now, I can tell right through here, she's tight right through here. I can start feeling the tightness in the muscles. I feel a few knots coming around. And all you're doing is coming out straight in front of you, bringing your hands around like a heart. So it's almost like that's why they call it heart effluerage. Just drawing around, coming around the side, coming back towards the center. I like to come out to the shoulders too, and then come up the neck. Again, we're not doing any kind of deep pressure. I'm spreading the lotion mainly and taking in information in my fingers. And so you want to do this 2, 3, 4 times. If you want to, about the second time, you can start putting a little more pressure in, so if it feels like she's getting comfortable, or your client's getting comfortable with it. As far as the stance goes, you want to make sure that you are in that archer stance, that lunge stance, front stance, whatever kind of stance you want to call this. So your weight is kind of towards the front. We're trying to move with our center of gravity, again, which is below your belly button, your hara, as the Japanese call it. And we're trying to move back and forth from one foot to the other, and we're making the body create the power, create the motion. You want to keep your elbows towards your body. You don't want to keep them locked, you're just going to keep them relaxed, but you don't want this to happen. So as you can see, we're just relaxed. I'm stepping forward, I'm just leaning forward into it. I'm not pushing with my arms, I'm not doing anything right here. I'm just letting my arms be the end. It's like I'm pushing through my legs, up my body, down my arms. Where my arms are doing the action, my arms are doing all the motion, I'll push off my front foot towards the back foot. So I'm constantly moving forward, coming back, moving forward, coming back, shifting my weight. You'll notice that my arms don't pick up too much. We don't want to get it where we're using other muscles that aren't necessary. If you plan on doing this as a career and you plan on doing 5, 6, even 8 of these a day, you don't want to wear yourself out. 8 hours of using straight up muscle all the time will wear you out, and we don't want to burn out. A lot of times the burnout is what causes you to not become a massage therapist for long. We want you to go for longevity. We want you to be a happy massage therapist for many years. So we want to make sure that we're shifting our weight forward, circling around, coming around through here, and I like to come up the neck. And again, we're doing this more times just for the sake of the video. Usually I do this 2 or 3 times before I move on. So again, pushing off the back foot towards the front. My arms are straight. I'm not doing a lot of pressure, obviously, because I'm not going straight down. I'm just letting it go across and around. And a lot of this is just to get her used to my touch. Get the lotion, the cream spread. Get her used to my touch, so we can start getting, if we can get these muscles, the upper muscles relaxed, then we can start getting to the deeper tissues, which is the goal if they're having any kind of pain or any kind of issues. From here, I usually go to one side or the other. So I'm going to transition into effluerage. That was hard effluerage. Now we're just going to talk about effluerage. So again, this is something I do. You can work from the front for a little bit. I like to transition to the side just to start. And again, I'm trying to get a little bit deeper into the layers of her muscles. So I'm going to get a little more cream. And what you're going to do, what I like to do is I like to lean against the table. Now you want to be very careful, not that nothing, your genitalia or nothing kind of bumps up against the client. So if her hand's in the way, you can move it just a bit. A lot of times you don't have to worry about that because their hand's already in. You want to get to where you're leaning against the table. I use your back leg I have facing towards the table. My front leg's facing to where I want to go. I'm trying to keep my belly button or my center facing my hands at all times. And we're going to start off doing a effleurage stroke. It can be one-handed, two-handed. I do like to do one-hand or two-handed effleurage starting off, where you put both hands together and you're trying to come up around and circle. So a lot of times you're going to put pressure. You want to put pressure as you're going forward. Lighten up and come back around. Forward and around. Forward and around. And as I'm doing this forward, I'm putting pressure in and coming across. Now, this is usually where you want to stop and ask the client how the pressure is. How's the pressure?
Good.
Okay, so ahead of time, we've already talked about pressure with the client. The way pressure works is the more that your shoulder is over your wrist, you have your shoulder, elbow, and wrist. The more it's in line and you're leaning over it, the more pressure you'll have. So if somebody wants a lot of pressure, what you're going to have to do is line all this up, lean against the table where all your pressure is going in, so that all the pressure that you have is going down. So that's the most pressure you can generate. The thing you want to watch out for, and why the height of the table is important, is because if the table was higher than this, so my shoulder is not, it's kind of relaxed. What you want to be careful of on the table, if your table is up too high and you're trying to create pressure, when you lean in, you don't want your shoulder to come up. So if this table were too high, which may be almost too high for me, if I put a lot of pressure, but she doesn't want extreme pressure. But when you're doing it, when you are doing your effleurage or doing your strokes, particularly effleurage, you do not want your shoulder to come up. So if you catch your shoulder up too high, this is going to cause a kink in your neck, in your traps. And you don't want that to happen. You want to make sure that you're going towards the head, make sure that your arm's not up high. The other thing you want to do is make sure you're leaning against the table, you put it across. So the more you're above it, the more pressure you have. If they don't want that much pressure, you just lean back a little bit so that I'm not directly on top, but I still have a good bit of pressure. Because what you don't want to happen if your table is too high and you're this way and doing your strokes, there's no pressure. or hardly any pressure. So the less angle you have, so the more this comes down, the more this level is out, the less pressure you have, because this way you're just rubbing straight across. The more pressure you have is when your shoulder, elbow, and wrist are above each other. So if they want maximum pressure, this is the way you'll do. And if you need extra pressure on top of that, I put one hand on top, lean in with everything I got, and then start the stroke that way. If they don't want that pressure, then I lean back just a bit, make sure it's not directly above each other. So I'll lean back a bit, make sure it's not directly above each other, and then I just start the massage. And again, this is where we start applying some pressure. So if they want pressure, this is where it goes. This is where you check in about the pressure. And you can do this a couple different ways. I like to do just two-handed coming around. You can do alternating hand. So any stroke you do, you don't want to do it over and over again. You want to do it like 3, 4, 5 times at the most. They usually say 3 is a good number to do. Just coming around, you lighten the pressure up. If you want to, you can kind of work in other stuff. You can kind of hook in a bit and get that supraspinatus or in that area, or maybe hook that trap as you're doing. Alternating hands, alternating effluerage is just one hand going, then the other, one hand, then the other as you work up the back. And again, you're leaning in, switching, leaning in, switching. And you're letting your body do the work. You're not trying to bench, you're not trying to push, you're not trying to do a push-up off our back, you're not trying to do anything like that. You're just letting the body mechanics do the work.